greatest and personal spiritual challenges was one that I'm a little ashamed to admit. But I had a particular hatred for an individual at one point in my life. And hatred's a funny thing. It really is. It consumes you. It poisons your heart, your mind, your soul. It makes you bitter. And it imprisons you in ways that you can't even begin to imagine. But I really struggled to let go of this hatred, to open my heart and to finally be able to move on in my own life. So the situation was this. A woman decided one day to drink and drive, and as a result of that choice, ended up taking the life of my sister. And it took me 15 years, honestly, 15 years to deal with that ugliness that clung to my spirit. And then it was near Memorial Day one year, and I was at the cemetery planting flowers on the family headstone. And in that moment of time and prayer, I was finally able to let it go, to lay that burden at the foot of the cross. And it changed everything, right? Letting go of that darkness, enabling God to free us from what imprisons and ensnares our heart and mind and soul. I share this particularly challenging time in my own life because it speaks of our journey of faith. It speaks of our Lenten journey in particular, and then it speaks clearly of that journey and how we come to experience the burning bush in our own life, right? So notice the burning bush is engulfed by this flame, right? By the fire of God. But it is not consumed. It is engulfed by the flame, but it is not consumed. And the fire of God, the passion of God, God's merciful love, what it does is it enhances the bush. It enables us to see its beautiful vision of who it really is and what it's really about. It enables God, in other words, to perfect that bush, right? And that's what happens in our experience of God's redeeming grace. God's love enfolds us. That redeeming grace fills us and consumes us with that flame of God. But it doesn't consume us, right? It doesn't destroy us. Rather, it perfects us. So our desert journey is a journey of repentance and renewal. It is a journey that is meant to lead us to that experience of the burning bush, and in which we experience the perfection of God's mercy and love as he pours it down upon us. And so as we take this journey, what we quickly realize is this isn't going to work unless we're truly vulnerable, right? Unless we can lay at the foot of the cross all of our limitations and weaknesses. Unless we can acknowledge the fact that we need God's redeeming grace to save us and to set us free. Unless we can stare into the reality of what is imprisoning our hearts and minds and souls and turn that over to God. We face our pride and we are asking for the help that we need to overcome. We face our human limitations and weaknesses and we are asking for the strength and the mercy of God that raises us up and beyond our limitations and weaknesses. We are vulnerable. And we recognize that we need to surrender ourselves and come to God, asking for that grace that God and God alone can provide. And in that vulnerability, we encounter God's unconditional love. And in that experience of God's unconditional love, we experience redemption and renewal and resurrection. And the more vulnerable we are, the closer we grow to God. And then we recognize what God is offering us in this journey of repentance and renewal. We recognize that God is offering us this intimate relationship with him, right? This absolutely intimate relationship with us. So God reminds us, who am I? I am the God of Abraham. I am the God of Isaac. I am the God of Jacob. That is God's call to the intimacy, the oneness, the unity that he seeks for us. Think of the scene in the garden when Adam and Eve had eaten from the forbidden fruit and they were hiding from God, recognizing that they had done something wrong and were hiding from God. God's intimacy invites us to come out from hiding, right? To recognize how in our journey we not only hide from God, but we hide from ourselves and we hide from other people. That we pretend to be someone we're not in order to fit in. We walk in light of the pressures of the society in which we are, and we act and behave in ways in which seem socially acceptable, but at that time is actually a surrendering of our humanity and dignity. The intimacy, the oneness that God offers us is to enable us to reclaim our humanity, reclaim our dignity, to recognize the power of God and the power that God has given us as his children. It is in that encounter of that intimacy that we know God's redeeming love. And it is in accepting that invitation we come out from hiding and God finds us and leads us home. Ultimately, it is about experiencing the fullness of life, to bear the fruit that comes with the reality of who we are as God's children and experiencing life as God meant us to have. The discipline of the desert enables us to shed ourselves of those obstacles, those barriers, those fears, those doubts that keep us from God's redeeming grace. The discipline of the desert enables us to open ourselves and surrender ourselves and be that vulnerable child of God that trusts in God's mercy and love and enters into that intimate relationship that God seeks to offer us. Our Lenten journey is a journey of repentance. It is a journey in which we seek the renewal of God's redeeming love and mercy in our life. It is a journey in which ultimately God seeks to give us and help us experience resurrection and new life.